Lyra stood on the edge of the vibrant jungle of Zirith, her heart heavy with memories. The lush greenery stretched out before her, alive with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant animal calls. But today, the jungle felt empty, devoid of the laughter and warmth that once filled it. Just a few weeks ago, her best friend, Tarek, had moved to a distant city, leaving behind a void that seemed impossible to fill. As a Zirithi warrior, Lyra was strong and capable. She had faced many challenges in her life, from hunting the fearsome Gorath to protecting her village. Yet, despite her skills and bravery, she felt helpless against the distance that had grown between her and Tarek. They had shared countless adventures, from climbing the tallest trees to exploring the hidden caves of Zirith. Now those memories were bittersweet reminders of what she had lost. Lyra took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the horizon. She missed Tarek's infectious laughter and his ability to make even the darkest days brighter. They had promised to stay in touch, but each time she reached for her communication device, she hesitated. What could she say? How could she bridge the gap that had widened since he moved away? The thought of reaching out made her stomach twist with anxiety. What if he was too busy with his new life? What if he had forgotten her? These worries gnawed at her, holding her back from taking the first step. Yet deep down, Lyra knew she couldn't stay silent forever. She needed to reconnect, to remind Tarek that their friendship still mattered, no matter the distance. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Lyra sat on a familiar rock overlooking the jungle. It was their favorite spot where they had shared dreams and secrets. A wave of sadness washed over her as she remembered the last time they had been here together. Tarek had promised her he would always be there, no matter how far apart they were. But now, that promise felt fragile. Determined to push through her fears, Lyra finally picked up her communication device. Her fingers trembled as she typed a message. "Hey, Tarek, I miss you. How are you doing in the city?" She hit send, her heart racing. The message felt like a lifeline thrown into the vast ocean of their separation. Would he respond? Would he want to reconnect? Days passed with no reply. Each morning, Lyra would check her device, hoping for a new message. But the screen remained silent, amplifying her feelings of loneliness. She felt like a warrior without a purpose, lost in a world that once felt so full of life. The jungle, once a place of adventure, now served as a reminder of her isolation. One afternoon, while hunting for food, Lyra encountered a Gorath, one of the deadliest creatures on her planet. Its massive body loomed before her, and for a moment she felt a rush of adrenaline. But instead of fear, she felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness. The creature was powerful, just like the bond she shared with Tarek, but now both seemed distant. An unreachable dot. As she prepared to take down the beast, an idea struck her. Instead of hunting for food, she could use this opportunity to prove her strength and resilience. She would gather the meat of the Gorath and send some to Tarek, along with a message. It would be a symbol of their friendship and a way to reconnect. Despite the miles between them, with renewed determination, Lyra focused on the task at hand. After a fierce battle, she successfully brought down the Gorath, her heart pounding. With victory, she meticulously prepared the meat, ensuring it was ready for transport. As she worked, her mind raced with thoughts of Tarek. Would he be surprised? Would he appreciate the gesture? That night, as she set the meat aside to cool, she sent another message to Tarek. "I faced a Gorath today. It was tough, but I did it. I'm sending you some of the meat as a gift. I miss our adventures together. Please reply when you can." Finally, she felt a sense of hope. No matter how far apart they were, she was still fighting to keep their friendship alive. The next morning, she packaged the meat carefully using leaves and vines to create a secure bundle. She would send it through the communication network, ensuring it reached him as quickly as possible. Days turned into a week, and just as she was beginning to lose hope, a notification pinged on her device. Her heart raced as she opened the message. "Lyra, I can't believe you faced a Goroth. That's incredible. Thank you for the meet. I shared it with my new friends here. I miss you too. Let's plan a video call soon." Tears of joy filled her eyes as she read his words. The distance that had once felt so overwhelming began to shrink. They were still connected, their friendship resilient enough to withstand even the greatest of distances. In the following weeks, they scheduled video calls, sharing stories about their lives and adventures. Tarek's laughter filled her ears, and for the first time since he had moved away, Lyra felt whole again. They reminisced about their time together, and Lyra realized that their bond was stronger than she had ever imagined. One evening, as they talked under the stars, Lyra felt a surge of gratitude. "I'm so glad we reconnected," she said, her heart warm with affection. "No matter where we are, you will always be my best friend." As they ended their call, Lyra looked out at the jungle, now alive with possibility. She had faced her fears and fought for their friendship. In that moment, she understood that distance could not sever the ties that bound them. Their connection was like the Goroth she had conquered, powerful and enduring. With hope in her heart, she whispered to the stars, "I will always fight for what I care about." And as she gazed into the night sky, she felt a sense of peace, knowing that their friendship would thrive, no matter the distance. And just like that, she watched in awe, not horror, as her world transformed. The jungle was alive again, filled with the promise of adventure, and she knew that together they could conquer anything, no matter how far apart they were. Lyra sat on the familiar rock overlooking the Zirathi jungle, her heart still fluttering. From her recent video call with Tarek, it was a strange mix of emotions. She felt joy at reconnecting with her best friend, but also sadness from the memories of their adventures that felt so distant now. The jungle below was alive with sounds, but it felt quieter without Tarek's laughter echoing through the trees. Their call, Lyra had spent hours thinking about their friendship. They had shared so much together, hunting, exploring, and dreaming of the future. But now, with Tarek living in a city far away, it felt like a part of her was missing. She felt strong and capable as a Zirathi warrior, but when it came to expressing her feelings, she often stumbled. Lyra knew she wanted to keep their friendship alive, but she wasn't sure how. She had sent him gifts before, like the Goroth meat, but now she wanted to do something more meaningful. She wanted to show Tarek how much he meant to her and how much she valued their bond, even across the distance. But what could she do that would truly convey her feelings? As days turned into weeks, Lyra began to think of new ideas. The jungle around her was filled with resources, and every time she walked through it, she felt inspired. One day, while gathering herbs for her village, she stumbled upon a beautiful flower. Its petals were a vibrant blue, shimmering in the sunlight. The flower was rare, known for its beauty and significance in Zirathi culture. It was said to symbolize friendship and loyalty. An idea sparked in Lyra's mind. She could send Tarek a bouquet of these special flowers as a reminder of their bond. She would gather enough to create a stunning arrangement and include a heartfelt message. This gift would be more than just a gesture. It would be a symbol of their enduring friendship. Renewed determination, Lyra spent the next few days carefully collecting the flowers. She made sure to select only the finest blooms, knowing that Tarek would appreciate the effort. Each time she picked a flower, she imagined Tarek's smile, and her heart swelled with hope. She worked late into the evenings, crafting a beautiful bouquet that showcased the flower's vibrant colors. When the bouquet was finally complete, Lyra felt a sense of pride. She placed it in a special container made from woven vines and leaves, ensuring it would stay fresh during the journey. She then wrote a message to Tarek, pouring her heart into every word. Dear Tarek, these flowers are a symbol of our friendship. No matter how far apart we are, you will always be in my heart. I miss you and can't wait to hear more about your life in the city. With the bouquet ready, Lyra set out to send it through the communication network. The journey to the nearest relay station was long, but she felt energized by her purpose. As she walked through the jungle, she noticed the beauty around her, the vibrant colors, the sounds of wildlife, and the warmth of the sun. It reminded her of the adventures she and Tarek used to have together, exploring every corner of their world. When she finally reached the relay station, she carefully handed over the bouquet. The operator smiled and assured her that it would reach Tarek soon. Lyra felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had taken a step to reconnect, and now it was up to Tarek to receive her gift. Back in the jungle, Lyra waited anxiously for a reply. Days went by, and each sunrise brought a mix of hope and worry. What if Tarek didn't like the flowers? What if he was too busy to respond? But deep down, she believed in the strength of their friendship. They had faced challenges together, and this distance was just another obstacle they could overcome. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, her communication device pinged. Lyra stood at the edge of the Zirithi jungle, gazing out at the vibrant greens and deep blues of her world. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over everything. It was beautiful, but she felt a pang of sadness in her heart. Tarek had been gone for weeks, and even though they had reconnected through messages and video calls, it still felt like something was missing. She longed for the days when they could explore the jungle together, side by side. After Tarek's visit, Lyra had felt a surge of hope. Their friendship had survived the distance, but as the days passed, the excitement began to fade. She missed the small things, the way Tarek would laugh at her jokes, the way he always encouraged her during their adventures, and the warmth of his presence. Even with their calls, it was not the same as having him there with her. One evening, as she walked through the jungle, Lyra stopped at a familiar spot. It was a quiet clearing filled with colorful flowers and tall trees. This had been a special place for her and Tarek, where they had shared dreams and plans for the future. Sitting down, she felt the weight of loneliness settle on her. She wished she could find a way to reach out to him, to bridge the gap that distance had created. As she looked around, an idea sparked in her mind. What if she created something special to send to Tarek? She had learned from their last experience that gestures could mean a lot, and she wanted to show him how much he meant to her. But what could she create that would truly represent their friendship and the adventures they had shared? Suddenly, she remembered the stories they used to tell each other about their dreams for the future. They had talked about exploring new worlds, meeting new creatures, and having adventures that would fill their lives with excitement. Inspired by those memories, Lyra decided to make a scrapbook. She would fill it with stories, drawings, and memories of their time together. With renewed determination, Lyra gathered supplies. She collected leaves, flowers, and small items from the jungle that reminded her of their adventures. Each item she picked had a story behind it. The shiny stone they found by the river, the feather from a colorful bird they had seen, and even a small piece of bark from the tree they had climbed together. Each piece was a reminder of the bond they shared. Back at her home, Lyra began her project. She worked late into the night, carefully arranging the items and writing down stories about their adventures. She wrote about the time they faced a wild creature together, how they had laughed while trying to catch fish, and the dreams they shared under the stars. With every word she wrote, she felt a sense of connection to Tarek, as if he were right there with her. As the days passed, the scrapbook took shape. Lyra poured her heart into it, including drawings of the jungle, pictures of the creatures they had seen, and even sketches of Tarek and herself. It felt good to relive those memories, and she hoped that when Tarek received the scrapbook, it would remind him of their friendship and the adventures they still had ahead. Finally, after several days of hard work, Lyra completed the scrapbook. It was a beautiful collection of their memories, filled with colors and stories. She felt a rush of joy as she held it in her hands. This was more than just a gift. It was a piece of her heart, a reminder that their friendship was strong and worth fighting for. Now came the challenge of sending it to Tarek. She knew the journey to the relay station would take time, but she was determined to make it happen. Early the next morning, she set off, the scrapbook carefully wrapped and secured in her bag. The jungle was alive with the sounds of birds and rustling leaves, but Lyra's mind was focused on Tarek. As she walked, she thought about how much she wanted to share her life with him again. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. What if he loved the scrapbook? What if it made him feel closer to her? Or what if he didn't respond at all? The worries crept into her mind, but she pushed them aside. She had to believe in the strength of their friendship. When she finally arrived at the relay station, she handed the scrapbook to the operator, who smiled warmly. "This will reach him soon," the operator said. Lyra felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had done her part. Now it was up to Tarek to receive it. Days passed, and Lyra found herself checking her communication device constantly. She eagerly awaited a reply, her heart racing with anticipation. Finally, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, her device pinged with a new message. With trembling hands, she opened it. "Lyra, I received the scrapbook today. It's amazing. Thank you so much. I loved every story and every picture. You really captured our adventures together. I miss you even more now. Let's plan to explore the jungle again soon." Tears of joy filled her eyes. Tarek loved the scrapbook. The distance that had once felt so heavy began to lift, replaced by a warm glow of happiness. Lyra felt a renewed sense of hope. Their friendship was alive and thriving, and she knew that they could face any challenge together. In the following weeks, they continued to exchange messages, sharing their daily lives and dreams. Tarek began to share stories about his new city, and Lyra told him about her adventures in the jungle. They laughed together, reminiscing about memories and making plans for the future. The distance that had once strained their bond now felt like a temporary obstacle they were overcoming together. One evening, as Lyra sat outside, she looked up at the stars. The sky was filled with bright lights, and for a moment she felt as if Tarek was right there beside her. She imagined sharing the beauty of the night with him, telling him about the constellations that danced above. In that moment, she realized that love and friendship transcended distance. No matter where they were, their hearts were connected. Smiled, filled with gratitude for the friendship they shared. She understood that it took effort and creativity to maintain their bond, but it was worth it. They had faced challenges together, and now they were stronger for it. As she made her way back to her home, her heart felt light. She had fought to keep their friendship alive, and in doing so, she discovered the true power of hope. She knew that no matter where life took them, their connection would remain strong. And as she walked through the jungle, she felt a sense of peace. She was ready for whatever adventures awaited her, knowing that Tarek would always be a part of her journey. Together, they could conquer any distance, and the future was bright. Lyra felt a renewed sense of joy after Tarek received her scrapbook. Their friendship had weathered the storm of distance, and each message they exchanged brought back the warmth of their shared memories. Yet despite the happiness she felt, a lingering sadness still tugged at her heart. She missed him terribly, and the longing for their adventures together was stronger than ever. After their recent conversations, Lyra found herself daydreaming about Tarek's visit to Zirith. She could still remember the excitement in his voice when he spoke about exploring the jungle. The thought of showing him the hidden wonders of her world filled her with hope. But as the days went by, and there was still no set date for his arrival, she began to feel that familiar ache of distance creeping back in. Determined not to let her feelings of loneliness overwhelm her, Lyra decided to take action. She wanted to create something special for Tarek that would remind him of their friendship and the adventures awaiting them. But what could she do that would show him how much he meant to her? One evening, while sitting in her favorite clearing, she watched the stars twinkle above her. The night sky was always beautiful here, and it sparked an idea. What if she made a series of small lanterns to light up their adventures? Each lantern could represent a memory they shared, a moment that brought them closer together. This way, even when they were apart, they could still feel connected. Excited by her idea, Lyra set to work the next day. She gathered materials from the jungle's small branches, colorful leaves, and glowing crystals she had found during their explorations. Each lantern would be unique, just like their friendship. As she crafted the first lantern, she recalled the time they had chased fireflies together, laughing under the stars. She carefully shaped the branches into a delicate frame and filled it with the glowing crystals, creating a warm, inviting light dot. As she worked, memories flooded her mind. The fun they had fishing by the river, the thrill of climbing the tallest trees, and the quiet moments spent sharing secrets. Each lantern she made represented not just a memory, but also the hope for more adventures in the future. Lyra poured her heart into each piece, knowing that Tarek would appreciate the effort and thought behind them. Over the next few days, she created a total of 5 lanterns, each one more beautiful than the last. When she completed the last lantern, she felt a sense of accomplishment. These lanterns were a piece of her world that she could share with Tarek. They would bring light to the darkness of distance and serve as a reminder that their friendship was strong. With the lanterns ready, Lyra knew she had to find a way to send them to Tarek. She made her way to the relay station, her heart racing with excitement. The journey felt longer than usual, but she focused on the joy of sharing her creation with her friend. When she arrived, the operator greeted her with a smile. "Wow, these are beautiful," the operator exclaimed as she handed over the lanterns. "I'm sure Tarek will love them. Thank you. I hope they remind him of our adventures," Lyra replied, feeling a mix of anticipation and Lyra felt a warm sense of connection after sharing their adventure day with Tarek. Their friendship, despite the distance, was growing stronger with every message and picture they exchanged. But even with the joy of their shared experiences, Lyra still felt a twinge of sadness. She longed for the days when they could explore Zirith together in person, laughing and discovering new wonders side by side. As she sat in her favorite clearing one evening, watching the sun set behind the tall trees, she thought about the moments they missed. Tarek had been a significant part of her life, and the distance made her feel like a part of her was missing. She wanted to do something special again, something that would truly show him how much he meant to her. An idea began to form in her mind. What if she organized a virtual event? They could invite their friends from both worlds to join in and share their own adventures. They could take turns telling stories, sharing pictures, and even playing games together. It would be like a festival, bringing everyone together, even if it was through screens. Lyra had seen her village organize events like this before, and she knew it could be a great way to reconnect with Tarek and celebrate their friendship. Excited by the idea, Lyra began to plan. She reached out to some of her friends in Zirith, asking if they would be willing to join. To her delight, many of them were eager to participate. They loved Tarek and wanted to meet him, even if it was virtually. Lyra created a list of activities they could do together. There would be storytelling, where everyone could share their favorite memories. There could be games that involved teamwork, like a scavenger hunt where they would search for items in their own environments. She even thought about a cooking segment where they could prepare a traditional dish from Zirith and share the recipes with Tarek. With the date set. Lyra felt a rush of excitement. She knew that this event would not only bring her closer to Tarek, but also help bridge the gap between their two worlds. She sent Tarek a message to share her idea. "Hey, Tarek, I want to organize a virtual gathering with friends from both our worlds. We can share stories, play games, and have fun together. What do you think?" A few hours later, Tarek replied with enthusiasm. "That sounds incredible. I'd love to join and meet your friends. It will be great to share our worlds like this." With Tarek on board, Lyra felt even more determined to make the event special. She spent the next few days preparing, coordinating with her friends, and setting up the virtual platform they would use. She decorated her home with the lanterns she had made, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Each lantern glowed softly, reminding her of the bond she shared with Tarek. The day of the event finally arrived, and Lyra could hardly contain her excitement. She set everything up early, ensuring that everything was ready for the gathering. Her friends arrived, each bringing their own energy and enthusiasm. They were curious to meet Tarek and see how they could connect with him. As the time approached, Lyra felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. What if things didn't go as planned? What if Tarek felt overwhelmed meeting everyone? But she reminded herself that this was about celebrating their friendship, and she had put her heart into making it special. When the time finally came, Lyra hit the button to connect with Tarek. As his face appeared on the screen, her heart soared. He looked excited and a little nervous, but his smile was genuine. "Hey, everyone! I'm so happy to be here," Tarek greeted, waving at Lyra's friends. They all cheered and welcomed him enthusiastically, making Tarek feel at home. The virtual gathering began with storytelling, a tradition in both their cultures. Lyra introduced her friends, and they took turns sharing their favorite memories of adventures in the jungle. Tarek listened intently, laughing at the funny moments and showing genuine interest in each story. When it was Tarek's turn to share, he described his life in the city. "There's so much to see here, but I miss the jungle and all the colors," he said, showing them pictures of the parks and unique buildings. Lyra could see how much he cherished their memories together, and it filled her with joy. Next came the games. They split into teams, with Lyra and Tarek on one side. The scavenger hunt was a hit as they raced to find items in their surroundings. They called out to each other, laughing and cheering as they completed challenges. The distance between them felt smaller with every laugh, every shared moment. After the games, it was time for the cooking segment. Lyra had prepared a traditional Zirithi dish called rakai, made with grains and local herbs. She shared the recipe with Tarek, who attempted to make it with whatever ingredients he could find in his kitchen. Watching him follow along was hilarious, and they all enjoyed the light-hearted atmosphere. As the evening progressed, Lyra felt a warmth in her heart. The event was a success. Tarek was laughing, her friends were engaged, and they were all sharing. A unique experience that brought them closer together. It was a celebration of their friendship, a reminder that distance could not sever the bonds they shared. When it was time to wrap up, Lyra looked at Tarek, her heart full. "Thank you for joining us, Tarek. This was amazing. I'm so glad we could share our worlds together. Thank you for organizing this, Lyra. It felt so good to be part of your life again. I can't wait to visit Zirith and explore everything with you." Tarek replied, his eyes shining with excitement. As they said their goodbyes, Lyra felt a sense of accomplishment. She had brought together friends from both worlds and created a beautiful experience that strengthened her bond with Tarek. She realized that even though they were physically apart, they could still find ways to connect and share their lives. After the gathering, Lyra reflected on how far they had come. She had turned her feelings of loneliness into something positive, using her creativity and determination to bridge the gap between them. The distance that had once felt like an obstacle was now a part of their journey, a challenge they had faced. Together, in the days that followed, their friendship continued to flourish. They exchanged more messages, shared new stories, and even began planning another virtual gathering. Lyra felt a renewed sense of hope and excitement. She knew that their friendship was strong enough to withstand any distance. As she looked up at the stars one evening, Lyra whispered a promise to herself. She would always fight to keep her connection with Tarek alive, no matter the challenges they faced. Together, they would conquer distance, and their adventures would continue, brightening their lives with hope and joy. And in that moment, she watched in wonder as her world transformed, filled with dreams and possibilities for the future. No matter where life took them, Lyra knew that their friendship was a light that would guide them through any darkness. As the days turned into weeks after the successful virtual gathering, Lyra felt a renewed sense of connection with Tarek. Their friendship had blossomed despite the distance, and each message brought a smile to her face. Yet, even with the joy of their shared experiences, a lingering sadness remained. She missed Tarek in ways that words couldn't capture. The longing for his presence was like a soft ache in her heart. One afternoon, as she wandered through the jungle, Lyra found herself at their favorite spot, a serene glade filled with colorful flowers and the sound of a gentle stream. This place had been their hideaway, a sanctuary where they shared dreams and adventures. Sitting on a large rock, she could almost hear Tarek's laughter echoing in the air. The memories flooded back, and she felt a wave of nostalgia wash over her. "Wish you were here, Tarek," she whispered to the trees, the wind carrying her words into the sky. The thought of him made her heart ache, but it also sparked a new idea. Instead of just waiting for him to visit, she could create something special that would remind him of their adventures together, something tangible that could cross the distance. Between them, that evening, Lyra began to gather materials. She decided to create a scrapbook filled with memories, just like the one she had made for him before. However, this time, she wanted it to be interactive. She would include spaces for him to add his own memories, drawings, and notes about their friendship. It would be a shared project that they could both contribute to as they continued their journeys apart. With a fire burning brightly in her home, Lyra set to work. She carefully selected colorful leaves, flowers, and bits of bark to create a beautiful cover for the scrapbook. As she crafted the pages, she reminisced about their adventures together, the time they had climbed the tallest tree, the day they found a hidden waterfall, and even the stories they shared under the stars. Each page would represent a different memory, and she planned to leave space on each one for Tarek to add his thoughts. She wanted him to feel included, to know that he was always in her heart, no matter how far away he was. Lyra spent days pouring her heart into the scrapbook. She drew pictures of the jungle, wrote down their favorite quotes, and even included small items like feathers and pebbles that reminded her of their adventures. With every addition, she felt a sense of connection to Tarek grow stronger. When the scrapbook was finally complete, Lyra felt a rush of excitement. It was beautiful and filled with memories, and she couldn't wait to send it to Tarek. But as she prepared to send it, a wave of uncertainty washed over her. What if he didn't have time to fill it out? What if he felt overwhelmed by the idea? Pushing those thoughts aside,